Okay, this week in theaters, we went out and we watched a movie called Fighting. Let's fight.
This isn't fighting.
Beers.
This is chugging. Is this like chug fighting?
Chug.
Fight! There's no table there, by the way.
You wins.
Okay, Fighting. Starring Channing Tatum. It's got to be the dumbest name I've heard for such a normal-looking dude. Terrence Howard from Iron Man fame.
Mm-hmm.
And Zulai.
No, Terrence, more, well, I guess from Iron Man fame, but he was also in,
Hustle and Flow.
before that, fuck.
ER? What are you talking about?
No, that,
He wasn't in ER.
whatever.
I don't think.
What the fuck was that movie?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know.
It's like, you know that movie that guy was in?
Yes, that's what I'm doing right now. No, it was, I forget. It had Matthew Dillon in it.
Crash?
Crash.
Okay, he was in Crash, too.
Yes.
No, I thought that was Cuba Gooding Jr.
No, I think it was him. Actually, I don't even know what I'm talking about right
Don't
now.
specify us on that.
Wow.
Actually, the other day I was watching TV and my roommate Brian says Fighting is. He saw Terrence Howard in the trailer for Fighting and he was like, "Isn't that Cuba Gooding Jr.?" I'm like, "No, that's not him."
That's something Brian would say.
Anyways, Fighting. This movie is about Channing Tatum fighting everybody, except Terrence Howard.
Even himself.
Even himself, mentally, he's just fucking pissed about everything.
And fighting his dad by accident.
By accident. That's what I found funny about it. It's like, I just jumped in there and I just started hitting people. I lost control and I just started hitting my dad. It's like, okay. Anyways,
If your dad can't take it, he's a pussy.
Needless to say, this movie is kind of ridiculous at times. You have Channing Tatum, who is next up in G.I. Joe, Rise of Cobra, which actually I'm kind of excited to see, but at the same time, I kind of have my doubts about it.
It was directed by the same people that did The Mummy.
Which Mummy? The first one?
I don't know. I think so.
If it's the third one, then that might be trouble.
That might be trouble.
Because the guy who directed the third Mummy also directed Stealth.
Flop!
Rob Cohen.
Flop.
At face value, it was what it was. You know? You have a story that's, sort of believable. Actually, the story is a lot more believable that there is, like, an underground fighting circuit in New York. And, being on the show and, like, having the chance to see a movie every week, you kind of get storylines, and you realize that storylines are constantly recycled.
Mm-hmm.
This movie, there was a lot of shades of like I mentioned Rocky already. A lot of shades of Rocky. The way Terrence Howard played his role, he's a lot like Dustin Hoffman's character in Midnight Cowboy, where he had the relationship between the two people.
Yeah.
He was kind of the way he blurted out his lines was spastic at times. Like he had a,
problem of some sort. But
yeah.
he was like that whole storyline between Tatum's girl or whatever her name.
Yeah,
and Harvey, his character. At the end when he was phoning her a whole bunch of times, and they're like, I don't know. That was kind of like stupid and awkward and didn't need to happen. Like, who cares that she was betting for him, and why did they make it so awkward in the hallway?
I didn't like how they brought her into the storyline like that, because it was just like, she could have played a much more important role if she just kind of stayed out of it.
Yeah.
When they brought her in, it's just like, I'm sorry. So it just kind of gave him a reason to get pissed, at these two people.
I told you about my father. Oh, I'm gonna punch shit.
It's like, I looked it up on the internet.
Yeah.
Like, fuck. That scene when she's looking up him on the internet and it's just like goes to ask.com.
Yeah.
And types in like Sean MacArthur. That was kind of funny. I thought that was...
You won't get anything if you type my name in.
I've never actually tried to type my name in. I'll try it after this. You might get like, is a sex offender.
Oh,
just kidding. Some of the fight scenes are actually really cool, especially the last fight scene I thought was...
But it's like way too... I wish they would zoom out sometimes. You know, like I know they were trying to make you feel like you're in the mix with them, and I got that, but it gets annoying when you can't see what the fuck's going on. It's almost like, okay, instead of... And you could tell that they didn't get, like, stunt people to do this because they were zoomed up on the people's face the whole time, so they could have been anywhere doing this shit. And then every time they zoomed out, they weren't doing anything bad, so... I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
that type of shit.
It was adding to the whole, like, gritty, like, shaky camera work thing, which is cool at times, but, you know, sometimes it's just like, I agree with you. You got to step back, and you got to show the whole picture, because...
More so, like, especially the last fight, it was like, they stepped back and showed where they were, and it was like a crazy, like, top of the building, like, mansion thing on the top, right? And, if they, like, panned out and showed the crowd, like, interacting with the fight a little more and showed, like, you know, just more stunts instead of just, like... It was really gritty, these fights, you know? Yeah. Like, you're used to seeing, like, UFC fights where, you know, there's a lot of grappling and a lot of this and that. And this was just, like, a street fight, like, no holds barred.
Yeah,
like,
bare-knuckle boxing.
Yeah,
you know?
Smashing heads on fountains.
I was surprised, like, in the last fight, I was surprised he didn't, like, pick up a table and break it over the dude's head. Because it's like, it got to that point where it was just, I thought, you know, it was going to get intense like that.
Yeah.
But no, it didn't. They just hit each other.
I went in, watched it, and didn't hate it. That's,
yeah.
You know,
I didn't hate it either.
And I thought I was just going to be like, whatever. And that's pretty much what I was about it. I thought I'd hate it more than I don't. I guess. But, yeah, there was a lot, like, done right in this movie. Like, there was some character development with Harvey's character and stuff like that.
Yeah, when they brought in, the dude... Anyways, the other bookie. When they brought in the other bookies and his background and everything, you kind of realized why he was doing this.
Yeah, and I liked how you got to know Harvey a little better. And then, you know, with the whole punching his dad thing with Tatum's character, it was all right. So you kind of knew a little bit of background why he was in New York, and because they kind of just jump into the story, and you kind of have to, like, pay attention and stuff. So that was done all right.
Yeah.
But once they jumped into it, I was just like, what the hell is going on? Like, he's just selling iPods on the side of the street, and then, because you see the
boom,
trailer...
they're into the story.
Yeah, they're, oh shit, don't take my shit, and then all of a sudden, oh, fighting. You know, like...
Yeah,
it was just kind of too jumpstart to me. I wanted a little more progression into that in order to take it as, like, a full-length movie. It kind of seemed really rushed. Like, when's the next fight? Okay, let's fight, because that's... Everyone that's in the theater, that's all they want to see. I felt that as well, but if they took better care of what they were doing in between the fight scenes, you know, like every time he was talking to that, what the hell? Zulai plays Zulai. Every time he was in a scene with Zulai, it was awkward as fuck, you know, like.
Yeah, but at the same time, I was watching that, and I was like, okay, this is kind of awkward, you know. They don't really know what to say to each other. They have those long stares at each other. And I was kind of reminded of the relationship between Rocky and Adrian. Because it kind of starts like that. Rocky is just like this dumbass who... This dumb brute kind of approaches her and just doesn't give up. And, you know, when he's like staying outside the club and waiting
but those
for
are good actors. These are not good actors trying that, and it was even more awkward. I had to look away.
I think the reason they come off as bad actors is because they have such a loose script, like you were saying. Like, have you seen Stop Loss with Channing Tatum in it?
No, I didn't.
You should check out Stop Loss, because it's actually a really good movie.
Well, it's got better actors in it.
Yeah, but Channing Tatum is one of the main actors in that.
I know.
He does a really good
Isn't
job
that like
with
the? Yeah, I know what it is.
It has Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Ryan Phillippe in it.
Phillippe's a good actor, and Levitt's amazing actually. So
Yeah, so I'm those two plus Channing Tatum's kind of like the newbie in that, but he can act. Like he can. In this one, you kind of got like the New York kind of tough guy, like he's trying to be like Robert De Niro type thing, but he just doesn't have much to work with. I mean, it's a movie that's very cut and dry, you know.
just like the name.
Just like the name, you have like the obvious storyline where he's up and then he goes down, then he comes back up.
But everything happened exactly how I thought it was going to. There was no twists, turns, or anything in this movie.
I thought this movie was decent, so I'm gonna give it 3.5 bottles.
Giving it 3. It's right in the middle for me. Didn't hate it, didn't love it.
Cool.
3 bottles.
Cheers.